And here we got the pick bands up. 40 going to you. You know, just as ZXX mentioned, right? Still a close matchup. What do you think based off of what we see? Awoken, Corrupted Keep, and Blood Covenant on the table.
I mean, k1llsen and Ruby Red Nyx, name a better, more iconic duo, right? So right off the bat, he hits you with the Nyx on Awoken. We got Doom Guy for vengeurR, so lots of mobility on Awoken, especially to control that T area, the mid area of the map. That'll be great. BJ Ranger on Corrupted Keep. I love that map so much, and I look forward to seeing that one. Again, the set plays from Ranger could be great. BJ with the dual wield, and then Blood Covenant, if we need it. Anarchy versus Strogg, lots of speed and mobility on Blood Cove. I think it's going to be a great set. It's always close between these two.
Yeah, I think this is going to go to map number 3, definitely. Like the first 2 maps, vengeur's very good on, but so is k1llsen. I reckon vengeurR could take the Corrupted Keep, depending on the circumstances, what happens at the start. But we know what k1llsen is like with the pressure and mobility we'll have. But like 40 said earlier, you know, with the Strogg and everything else that goes with it, it's going to be an absolute ridiculous series.
So, based off of what I just heard, I'll think it's going to go at least to 3 games.
Definitely.
All right. I'm going to be with you on that one. And we see the map fly through, and that means we are ready. Ladies and gentlemen, hand it over to our 2 voices to help us tell this story. It's Ketchup and Flea.
So, Flea, we always know that k1llsen and vengeurR have just ridiculous matchups together. I'm really hoping it is going to be another one of those situations. We are moments away from going into Awoken map number 1. I thoroughly expect it to go down to the decider, but we'll see what happens, mate.
Absolutely, this should be a wonderful match indeed. And also, just to think back about what happened previously in Stage 4, it was actually vengeurR who beat k1llsen just a few weeks back. So clearly, this is not at all a given victory for the Cheetah from Team Big as he takes on Maestro vengeurR from Maestro. Now, both players somewhat of a double jump or wall jump ability, so a lot of that additional kind of mobility that they have to work with, which is so crucial on the map that is Awoken, that center area of the map so hotly contested that extra jump can help you out tremendously. Now k1llsen on his iconic Nyx, as we just discussed, starting things off strong, popping the Ghost Walk straight away, as vengeurR actually ends up with a slight stack advantage after that engagement.
We've started to see more Slayer players use the Berserk aggressively on Awoken of all maps, and I do wonder if we're ever going to see that used more into this matchup. Purely because k1llsen, if he has uncontested hourglasses, his Ghost Walk is going to be available so much more than it usually is, which against this kind of player with vengeurR, I mean, that Ghost Walk's insane if you have it that much.
Good rails coming out right there.
A shot to open things up. Ghost Walk is already back. He's only just used it. Yet here we are. Wonderful trade-off just to deny that light. As now we go towards Mega. Looks like k1llsen's in the best position, and vengeur's not really going to challenge for it. But now another fight's going to break out. He is going to chase through the teleporter. Wait a minute. Here comes the Ghost Walk. With the heavy about to spawn, vengeurR is showing it a lot of respect, but he's going to take a bunch of damage instead. That self-damage does mean that he's done a rocket jump to escape, but it's going to allow vengeurR to survive. So a worthy trade, I think.
Indeed, and now we get to see some of that famous defensive play from vengeurR. We talked about it earlier. He is so good at landing those defensive rockets, keeping you at bay. Manages to jump out of the room using that double jump to sneakily fly over k1llsen's cursor. Won't be able to dodge that rocket though. That's painful, and now k1llsen, he wants to capitalize off this. He knows that vengeurR is hurting. Now he has to make a difficult decision. How aggressively do I want to pursue this? If I push out too much, I will actually give my opponent an angle to steal one of the items. But if I wait too long, he gets to restack easily. Good rail. vengeurR managing to restack somewhat, getting to that base 100-100 stack, but k1llsen immediately knocking away a good chunk of that, keeping himself in control and actually going in with the aggro Ghost Walk.
I'm loving his use of the Ghost Walk in these situations because he is remaining unpredictable. If vengeurR is going to be comfortable hitting these defensive angles and hitting the shots that he needs to, all it takes is one surprise Ghost Walk for vengeurR to be caught out of position without him even realizing it. k1llsen's keeping a lead. You will notice how content vengeurR really is to allow k1llsen to take these. It kind of goes back to what we've said, how comfortable vengeurR is playing on the back foot, or at the very least when he knows he's outstacked. But just look at the damage he's able to do. He kind of, if you look at the stack difference, he's not too bad at all, but k1llsen is the one that's been taking all the items.
I mean, this is a repeat of what we saw earlier on Molten Falls when vengeurR did the exact same thing to his teammate Razy, and it ended up getting him the win. He was out of control, didn't get many of the items, but he just played such a clever positional play, always doing the damage when it mattered, and it allowed him to get the upper hand. And
I mean, look at this.
Yeah, he even steals away the Mega. k1llsen just shows up too late. And
How many times? We're checking this whole thing out from k1llsen's point of view, right? How often is vengeurR there, but he's only just out of...
Yeah.
k1llsen can't pin him down. He can't find an angle. There's no angle to be had.
And it looks like vengeurR is even going to be able to take the heavy.
Wow.
k1llsen deciding that losing out the Mega made it a bit too uncertain for him to actually manifest himself towards the second major item as well. Wants to just get solid footing. Absolutely does not want to give anything away to vengeurR, and of course, not having the Ghost Walk played a big part in his decision there as well. He does have that ability up, ready to go right now. Might be a little bit more aggressive. That railgun will probably force him to just retreat, look for a sneaky shot of his own. There we go, caps the knee. As he now is looking for some more armor. He needs that, playing as a squishy light champion like Nyx. You're so dependent on the armor. Yes, he gets the Mega, but armor is what he wants and what he'll get to.
Can't afford to get hit by one single good rocket, good string of LG. vengeurR capable of doing both of those in these tight situations. Good little bit of tri-bolt though. k1llsen is going to get return fire. 5 seconds until this heavy spawns. So vengeur's not going to let him take it without a fight. Now there's the downtime between rails. That's going to be the green light to push forward and take it. Good rocket from vengeurR. And that should be a Mega. And that missed rail is going to be the absolute guarantee that he's going to take it uncontested. And as we're 5 minutes, I mean, this is kind of a map that you can grow to expect with these two players. ZSX quite rightly pointed out, they have a similar style to each other. That definitely hurt, undoing the usefulness of the Mega that was picked up. But both these players have... Wow, okay, before I can even finish talking about how they're prepared to go all the way.
k1llsen managed to get a frag. Awfully confident after hitting that direct tri-bolt for 115 damage, where he just pushed in hyper aggressively. This is a risky fight for vengeurR. 10 HP makes it. Mega spawning after the fight. I think he was banking on that. Oh my god, k1llsen very aggressive on the push, getting himself on the board.
He didn't even stop for the light. He doesn't want to lose that time. He wants to make sure he's in position to get this heavy first. And I mean, due to the spawns alone, I'm not even sure if vengeurR had a rail. With one frag left to go and plenty of time to get it done. Hourglasses are ready, but again, the important thing is the items here with the Mega, and he should be able to undo. vengeurR looking for these defensive shots. I love the fact that k1llsen around that corner, he just stopped moving. There's this, let the rocket come out and then catch the off rhythm.
Rail off the spawn even baits him into coming back around. k1llsen. Of course, when you use the Berserk, a side effect is that you've got that noise playing in your ears. The song, the Berserk rage soaring through your ears. It makes it very difficult to hear your opponent. It does utilize that perfectly. I think vengeurR assumed that his opponent had just either gone through a teleporter or looped around through a heavy machine gun, but k1llsen was just sitting pretty, waiting for his opponent to loop back around and get himself into a tied game. Now this time around though, vengeurR off the respawn, getting himself some good resources. k1llsen, no armor to his name. He's gonna want that small armor. He knows that it should be spawning soon, but vengeurR's got a pretty good read on him. The rocket jump up. I think vengeurR will prioritize just center control and the Mega before he pushes in for anything more, because it is so late into the game already. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Mistakes now are heavily punished, and k1llsen, solid play. Didn't get that much damage out of it, but at least didn't surrender anything either, except for giving up the Ghost Walk, of course.
Had the right idea with the rocket. He's got to watch out for the super shotgun. k1llsen's showing a lot of respect on the range. LG's going to come through. vengeurR pushing forward. He knows the rail. Even if I get hit, the downtime is real in between shots. k1llsen, the Mega spawns, but does he take the risk? Looks to push, and he does take it. But now, the agenda. Armor. We need it. Oh, vengeurR makes the good call out. He knows he's going to take that armor. So attractive. Super closely. Really hard to call how this one's going to go so far. k1llsen, he's lower on stack, but staying alive, and that's the important thing. Good position for the heavy. Now going to go to him as well. Less than 2 minutes on the clock. And there's so much patience, so much care. But k1llsen, if he's looking for these range shots, he knows that vengeurR, his defensive angles, it's about the rocket spam, it's the tri-bolt spam. I love how careful he is around every single corner, just in case there is that one piece of splash that even if it doesn't do damage, it gives his position away. He's trying to play this dance around vengeurR in the middle, looking for that one chance to get a good shot to start things off. And that's a good start.
Yeah, exactly. Both players engaging in a bit of a dance of sorts right there. vengeurR holding the center area of the map, k1llsen floating around him, both looking for an opportunity. vengeurR waiting for a shot to steal an item. k1llsen waiting for damage. vengeurR just standing around the corner. DLG into the rail will put k1llsen one frag ahead with 50 seconds left to go. The pressure is all on the Italian stallion.
He got caught a little bit too. There's no way k1llsen knew that vengeurR was as round the corner as he was.
Oh, yeah.
The LG out just in case he was down a little bit further away, yet his capitalization, sticking to it and still being able to outdamage. Now, it's kind of make or break for vengeurR in these final 30 seconds. This is to get that first map advantage. Springs the trap, using the small little hitbox of Nyx to hide behind the pillar. I like it. And a really good rail. Doesn't need to use the Ghost Walk. And the longer it takes to save the Ghost Walk now, assures victory. 10 seconds left. It's pretty much done because he has a Ghost Walk now. vengeurR takes damage. He's going to push, but now the win is impossible because the Ghost Walk is ready. Not that he even needed it. That's a GG, and k1llsen taking map 1.
k1llsen just played that to perfection in that last minute and a half or so. He could have just run from the start and just completely avoided vengeurR to the best of his ability, knowing that he still had the Ghost Walk at the ready. But doing so, he also knew would potentially expose him to just one of those last moment frags. So instead, he still kept on applying pressure. That trap that you pointed out up at the railgun, him just sitting behind the pillar and then switching to the LG at the last possible moment to push vengeurR back and at least do maybe 50-60 points of damage right there. Those little moves, they add up over time. So k1llsen, rather than just immediately running the moment he hears his opponent enter the room, he goes for the damage. He wants to make vengeurR hurt, and it forces him to also consider the items rather than just go for a blind push like that. And then you end up in a situation as we saw in those final 10 seconds. vengeurR has to push, but because k1llsen has continuously applied that pressure, he doesn't have the stack to do it with. So when he jumps around the corner going in for the final fight, all k1llsen has to do is land that final shotgun shot off from hell, and it'll completely secure the victory.
Looking at that replay too, it was kind of heartbreaking for vengeurR. A bit of a tragic situation where he's round the corner and he's looking to spring that kind of close-range rocket trap. It's just that k1llsen was so close. The rocket, it looked like it pushed him really far away. And while he was airborne, the fact that k1llsen had the LG out at the time meant that he could just go boop, and that's how he won the fight. Yep. And it just started the beginning of the end on that map. Now, we're going to go from one tiny map to another, as our next pick is going to be Corrupted Keep. Looks like we're, searching for match, so we'll be into the next match pretty much as soon as possible. Looking like it's going to be BJ versus Ranger. So, Corrupted Keep, a map where you know we're going to have to brawl. And playing from behind is... I mean, without the rail, it definitely changes that dynamic on both sides, but there's just a lot of comfort here, but there's also a lot of experience. Flea, the amount of times these two players have gone back and forth, definitely in the competitive world, I'd call them rivals at this stage because of how back and forth they've been, how close their matches always tend to go, always tends to be a final map, and the maps are close, and Corrupted Keep, I'd love to see just an all-out brawl on this map, but realistically, I'm not sure we'll see it. I think it will be more slow than you would expect Keep to be.
Also worth pointing out is that vengeurR actually lost Awoken twice in a row. First against Razy, now against k1llsen. And I think a lot of people would consider Awoken kind of vengeur's best map. It is one of those places that he's particularly well known for, as he's so able and capable of playing his own game on the map. But Awoken, that's done for. We're moving into the second one, Corrupted Keep. Another small map, as you said. Two medium champions this time around. We've got k1llsen on the BJ. He's got that dual wield, that burst damage at the ready. Whereas vengeurR playing Ranger also has the orb for damage, but it also gives him a fair bit of added mobility. And we are immediately getting a brawl. vengeurR with the rockets from above. The man, Kid Bellissimo. He is so well known for having some of the best rockets in the business, and he's living up to the title as well.
Oh, but he gets knocked far away and he can't get the splash. The rocket's actually saving k1llsen's skin in that respect. Now the double machine gun. That certainly doesn't tickle. Long enough to push vengeurR away and allow k1llsen to collect this mega as vengeurR disengages, takes the heavy. And now we're going into another fight near this middle. Finally managed to soak up an LG. He knows that vengeurR doesn't have one, but he has got a rocket, and that's going to be really good if he's able to do the less self-damage at point blank. You're weak. That's not a situation you want to fight in. However, now they both have the same weapons.
vengeurR has got a bit of a stack advantage though, but k1llsen will find himself a small armor to top him up slightly. Very little of a delay between the items, so it does seem as if vengeurR will be able to secure the heavy. k1llsen will just pick up the mega at more or less the exact same time. Neither player really in a position to set up a good rotation, get that full control going just yet. Both players, they're just locking horns whenever they can, trying to do damage, get a good engagement. vengeurR falling slightly short with the orb a moment later, and that probably would have resulted in a death for either one of these players.
And we are in that kind of typical early start for Corrupted Keepers. Both of the items get taken at the same time. Both players looking to kind of get that inch. But ultimately, it does tend to come down to who the first player is to break that cycle. As we can clearly see, I mean, k1llsen's playing heavily around what vengeurR's doing here. He's just listening out for where he's going to be. Has the right weapon out for the range. Really starting to poke him down from ranges. And I think we're likely to have another exchange. And just like that, we have indeed. 2 minutes already gone.
Lots of damage being exchanged without a frag though. Neither player able to manifest themselves long enough around that center area of the map. We keep seeing the exact same cycle. They get into it around the middle, do a lot of damage, and then they both just retreat towards their own items and manage to stack right back up. Pretty much identical stacks right now. A slight advantage to k1llsen, but that probably won't make the difference as he moves on to heavy.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Good plays from vengeurR. Both players for the first time this map choosing to go for the same item, and vengeurR realizing that he couldn't make it there first, just set up a trap. Of course, the ranger rockets at close range into the orb, so deadly, so much damage you can do with that, and k1llsen will be dropping another frag. Now there's 5-6 seconds between the items, so if vengeurR plays his cards right, he could actually get into full control right now.
I'm liking vengeurR's use, and he's waiting for the rocket boost. You already know he's in position for it. Oh, that one almost hit direct. Anyway, what I was going to say is that a lot of vengeurR's orb usage has been when k1llsen's kind of stuck in air movement. In situations where reacting to the orb while he's mid-air is almost impossible unless you get a really phenomenal shot. So he's making things very awkward for k1llsen, very tricky. Currently sitting with 2 frags on the lead, but there is plenty of time on this map for k1llsen to bring this back, absolutely. But what I'm looking at now is the difference in time between these two items. It's no longer that kind of exchange. It has been shortened a little bit now, though. I mean, there's probably not going to be much of a difference between these two for a while. But k1llsen's taking tons of damage. The aggressive orb, but he's distracted. The strength of Ranger's orb. Where are you going to look? Which direction do you dedicate to, Flea? It's such a hard call sometimes.
We have been talking a lot about vengeurR's rocket so far, but that LG, that was exquisite.
Speaking of,
cherry on top, here we go again. The tracking, immaculate. k1llsen just watches his stack.
He did not expect
vengeurR
to chase that.
Yeah, no, that was a really strange play from vengeurR right there, just walking up against the wall. Probably had no clue what k1llsen was right above him, or tried to make himself as invisible as he possibly could. Good combo! Can he finish it off? k1llsen screamingly low as vengeurR commits to the chase. k1llsen, not the greatest of positions down there. vengeurR does not want to let him leave.
But the dual wield saved until the magic moment. In this case, it's get the hell off me, I want to go back. But in this case, I mean, yeah, just right near that heavy when he was positioned against the wall, vengeurR must have been just convinced that k1llsen was going to back off and try and get Mega or something. Or just go towards Mega Room at the very least. Taken by surprise there. Did survive at least, but here's the problem. Armor again, and vengeurR having the right idea to just take it first, and k1llsen shut down. But wait, some good range damage coming out from k1llsen. Problem is vengeurR's surrounded by stack. All too early.
Kind of a mess up on the map awareness right there. If he had just looked to the right, he would have been able to kill k1llsen, but instead he had his eyes entirely focused on that next item, the major, the armor right there. And so he allowed k1llsen to do like 80 points of damage completely unreturned. k1llsen will be able to secure the small armor. He will drop down dead afterwards though. And now vengeurR looking to deny that small armor. I love that rocket jump right there.
Me too.
If he hadn't done that, k1llsen would probably have spawned over that side on the map and would have been able to secure the item instead. So he just jumped out aggressively just to deny it and deny k1llsen the resources that he needs.
Emphasis on range there from vengeurR. He knows that k1llsen doesn't have loads of weapons, but if he's near heavy and he's got dual wield, he's probably got the super shotgun, so he didn't even want to come close to challenging that. But as we now go in, vengeurR, pretty comfortable lead, all things considered. He's able to match the damage. His orb usage has been through the roof. Almost got it again. Looks like he's a tiny bit early on the heavy for another time just to put himself in position. He is going to have to concede it, but he shuts it down immediately. And his reward is the mega. vengeurR playing so good right now, and he's continuing to shut down that light. Now, if you've just respawned near rocket or something like that and there's no light nearby, you have a pretty subpar start, don't you?
The rockets from vengeurR punishing every single opportunity that k1llsen has to make a comeback happen. Even if k1llsen does manage to steal away a major item like we just saw, vengeurR tends to be there to do so much damage that even if k1llsen sneaks away a heavy or something, vengeurR often still ends up reigning supreme shortly afterwards. And we're about to enter the final 3 minutes of this map. k1llsen. Significant play. Oh, there we go. The orb couldn't connect in time. vengeurR will drop a frag. k1llsen, I mean, we talk about it time and time again. Corrupted Keep, it is the snowball map. k1llsen, if he can find this momentum right now, this is still a very possible scoreline to make up.
There's plenty of time for it. And then with the mega spawning, k1llsen's going to need to do a lot more work. Still not using the dual wield. He actually hasn't used the dual wield a huge amount on this map. I really think he's been trying to save it for when it is the make or break. The problem is that the longer it takes him now to restack and get himself in position for another fight, he is starting to run out of time. 4 frags can definitely be done in 2 minutes. 4 frags can be done in 1 minute on this map. However, vengeurR, we've spent all day talking about how he can play from behind. If he has the lead and has to play a defensive game, it's pretty similar in that respect.
Absolutely. Now k1llsen aggressively with the rocket jumps, knowing that he just doesn't have the time to take these normal routes. He has to push, but vengeur's rocket's so good. Even though k1llsen still has a stack advantage, he is suffering. He needs to win this fight, and he does. He does. If he had dropped that one, it would have been over and done with. But k1llsen coming out on top of that one.
Really early on the mega.
Yeah, very early, 7 seconds. And heavy is up right now. If vengeurR gets positioning on the heavy, he does. That could cost k1llsen the game. That could be the end of the comeback right there. Being early for mega and just giving up
Look out!
armor.
Oh, never mind. He's behind you.
There we go. Both players just looking completely the wrong direction. k1llsen will be the first one to realize where his opponent is. But now, ketchup. Barely a minute left to work with. Can he do this?
I think 3 frags in a minute is definitely possible. He has to fight the orb though, and he knows it. He's taking so much damage, he's out of armor. This is a terrible position, and the fact that vengeurR just took the mega. This heavy's going to be a good start, and now he is back up to a full stack. The dual wield is ready. He will surely have to use the dual wield to shut down this mammoth stack that vengeur's working on. He's still saving it, still keeping it. I think the attempt must be to take vengeurR out now and dual wield him on spawn. But can he finish it? Oh no, he gets it, vengeurR. No. That's going to be a GG right there.
Really powerful defensive plays from vengeurR. He's not the kind of player that a lot of people would immediately say, oh, he's like a defensive powerhouse, you know, like Base or Dewey, someone who can really play it passively. But vengeurR, whenever he is out of control and he has to make it up, he just absolutely pulls through 100%. And he shows it time and time again, earlier against Razy as well. And now on this map, taking down k1llsen in a pretty convincing fashion too. So vengeurR, props to him. He's going to tie things right back up as we will be moving into the 3rd and final decisive map of the series. Winner moves on, loser drops down to the lower bracket where they of course still have a shot.
I've got to say though, I do wonder why k1llsen didn't use the dual wield more. I know there's a lot more to it than that, and I don't want to come across as almost like too straightforward with that, because there's many moving parts to what happened in that map, but it just felt like he didn't use it as much as you normally see BJ players, especially in those final moments. You can almost expect that maybe the play was to take down vengeurR normally with enough stack to survive, and then, you know, get a good call out on a spawn. He has nothing but a starting weapon, and you can shred it for that, you know, that kind of comeback factor. I guess those two frags would be really concentrated, but you just didn't really see it very much, did you, Flea?
Absolutely not, and I think that another downside of that is not only does k1llsen lag that extra damage output he gets from his ability, but he's leaving up so many hourglasses for vengeurR. We saw that orb used how often? Catch up, this was like a dozen orbs, just a lot, constantly, in pretty much every single engagement, as you're about to see right here on screen. vengeurR had that orb ready to go. He sometimes used it to reposition, but more often than not, he used it aggressively to deal damage, and k1llsen, by hanging on to that dual wield so often, he just allowed vengeurR to play that way and utilize his ability to the greatest extent. 40% LG as well, well played from vengeurR as we are setting up the final map. And also, just to reiterate, the winner of this map qualifies for the grand finals tomorrow. So they are playing for keeps. This is so important as we're about to jump into Blood Covenant.
What a deciding map this can be as well with Blood Covenant. Thoroughly excited, and there's a large emphasis on movement with both of these players. I do believe it's going to be Anarchy and Strog, and with how they always seem to have these close matches, two titans of Quake champions, absolutely, and quite the year-long rivalry that's built up between k1llsen and vengeurR. So much respect for each other, absolutely, no doubt about it, but whenever they play, especially in a competitive setting, it always seems to go this way. But I am confident and curious to see actually what the wonderful Twitch chat thinks. So let me know in chat whether you back k1llsen or vengeurR. Who's your money on right now? Because this is a ticket to finals day on the line. It's going to be classic Blood Covenant. Let's go, k1llsen, vengeurR. Oh, I'm excited, Flea.
So am I, man. k1llsen, of course, wants to continue that successful streak of his after winning the Stage 3 finals. He wants to add yet another notch to that beautiful belt of his. Whereas, of course, vengeurR, hungry, the rising star, as we've been saying, right? The man who finished. Looks like we're back in the lobby. A few changes have to be made, don't worry.
I was hype!
Jumping right back into the game in a moment's notice. But yeah, vengeurR, as we discussed, right? 5th place finish 2 lands ago. 4th place finish 1 LAN ago. He wants more, and this is his chance to really prove it.
I think we've gone for a server change, it looks like, so should only be about a minute or so and we'll be back in. But that doesn't change my question. I'd love to know what the people back, and I know that vengeurR and k1llsen, they're at this point very much 2 fan favorites. k1llsen's been in the chat most of the day, and yesterday actually he's always a really nice guy. And I mean, he's got this very, especially in competitive, I know he gets very disappointed when he loses, because look, who doesn't at this level of play? Everyone has what it takes to win, so of course they're out for #1, always, that 1st place spot. But he has high spirits, does k1llsen, and it feels like a bit of a different mentality. There's just something about k1llsen recently that feels a bit more positive than he normally is. Not to say that he's a negative person, of course, but as of very recently, like if you watch his stream, if you follow him on social media, especially when he goes into a tournament, he's prepared. He makes sure he's well fed, he's well trained. I think he has quite the healthy mindset these days, and mindset is half the battle in competitive, isn't it? No matter what the game is.
Absolutely, and I think that, I mean, we're seeing k1llsen a lot, yeah, and he's been talking a lot about that infamous focus of his, right? He's got that beautiful emblem, the logo that he spams quite often in chat, so if you're a fan of k1llsen, don't hesitate to do the same. Show some support to your boy as we are about to jump into this first qualifier for the grand finals tomorrow. It's k1llsen, it's vengeurR.
vengeurR on Blood Covenant. He can play the slowest game of Quake you've ever seen. Never forget the overtimes this man endured in the last stage.
It's so difficult to do as well. That just shows a tremendous amount of endurance, discipline, and patience that you need to be able to play at the top level of Quake.
This is, as you would expect, going to be quite the slow start. k1llsen's looking for a rail angle. vengeurR goes in, takes a rail. I think vengeurR will see that as a fair trade. You do need a rail to go toe-to-toe with k1llsen, so if you take at least one, it's fine. In this situation, though, maybe not so fine. That rail did miss its mark. I believe that would have been a kill shot on vengeurR right before he collected that small health bubble. But we're going for another full rotation of the items as vengeurR soaks up heavy. And it's going to be Mega going to k1llsen, as expected.
Absolutely true. Now, there is a bit of a standard stack difference between these two champions, right? Anarchy, of course, the light one, versus vengeurR playing Strog, who, of course, has got a larger base stack, which makes him more resistant to these rails that undoubtedly will shape a lot of the fights in this map. We saw it at the beginning. k1llsen, after taking just 2 rails, he's completely crippled and just has to disappear. Beautiful rocket jump into the rail. He's going aggressively. He has tasted, smelled blood, and he wants to punish vengeurR some more. The rails, they're good. One more should do the trick. k1llsen, he's just gonna drop down.
Way.
Ballsy play, and no, vengeurR!
Way vengeurR survived that. I can't believe it.
Basic rule of Quake is you don't jump onto a lightning gun because it's so easy to get pinned. Now, of course, there are exceptions to this, and k1llsen thought he had his opponent so low that he would take a lot of damage dropping down, but he would still come out victorious and then probably be able to secure some of the items around the map. But vengeurR, holding his ground, standing his own, and just absolutely demolishing k1llsen on the drop down.
That is the clutch factor of vengeurR coming out in full force. k1llsen had every reason to believe that was the perfect time to jump down, but maybe he didn't expect vengeurR to hit almost every single damn tick of that lightning gun. Yeah. And now, I mean, we're moving into the next set of items now. He's heard the injection get popped, so vengeurR knows that he's going to be dealing with a healthy k1llsen, especially now that heavy has been taken. Now vengeurR, he's doing the maths in his head. He knows what that one rail means. It's not going to be anywhere near enough, but this Mega is a good start. Along with the light to take, he's now going to be more stacked than k1llsen currently, and there is going to be time before the next injection is ready to go. Wouldn't be surprised if vengeurR puts on a little bit of pressure here.
vengeurR, of course, properly in control right now. Heavy waiting behind him. He wants to keep control of the bridge. Out comes the peeker. I don't think we're going to see as much effective peeker usage on this map, simply because it is a larger open map. You've got a lot of these interesting rail angles, and one rail shot is enough to blow up the drone. So vengeurR probably going to be using it more as a sort of extra line of defense, or maybe to get some information, rather than really use it consistently to get some extra damage out with.
I think the pick was definitely for the crouch slide in this one.
Yep.
On this kind of map. No longer is Slash just that one champion with the crouch slide on a map like this, where you can just completely control and speed around. And the extra stack definitely helps. That was a nice little rail. And it's a bit of a scary game for vengeurR to play now, because with this Mega that's going to spawn, he is going to be able to soak it up. But k1llsen is once more going to take heavy, and they've continued to kind of just trade the items off so far.
k1llsen also using that injection pretty much constantly to get himself not just that extra health at the time, but also slowly increase that max stack of his, and by the end of a map, that can really add up. Now vengeurR taking a bad rail, k1llsen making his way back into this, landing some good shots, but vengeurR with the defensive rockets once again. Both players deciding to break away, though neither really confident in committing for that fight. vengeurR fumbling the heavy for a moment there. Luckily for him, it didn't cause any damage. And now both players, they've recovered from that fight, that messy engagement we saw moments ago.
Now vengeurR did allow the light armor to rock. I think the plan was to get some damage, and if there is a fight, he knows he has something to kind of retreat to. He's going to sit down here and wait. If there is a fight, looks like he's catching it. Oh, the awareness from k1llsen. Really nice bit of safety just checking around that corner. But he's pushing out. He's looking to get these rails. He knows he can beat him to the Mega if he gets this kill, and if he gets this frag now, is he going to back out? He sticks to his guns, and one extra shot would have done it. But now, the Mega, k1llsen, I mean, he's been able to soak it up, so it could have been definitely a worse spawn, all things considered. But that is a 2-0 for vengeurR. He's weak as hell. The problem is that k1llsen doesn't have a rail.
I mean, we essentially saw the exact same thing from Frag 1 repeat itself to that situation, right? It was vengeurR holding his ground and k1llsen getting the better opening and then just committing to it. But vengeurR, with a sliver of health left, just standing tall and taking down the aggressor, k1llsen, that is looking to bully him into submission. So vengeurR risky play that really could have gone either way, but it will be the Italian coming out on top. Lots of good vertical rails from k1llsen. vengeurR should not be able to escape. Hang on! The turnaround again! How does this keep happening? k1llsen probably getting a little frustrated right now because this is the third time in a row that he was on top. He was set to take the win right there, and then just vengeurR turns it around.
I was about to say the same thing, Flea. There is absolutely no way that k1llsen isn't at least a little bit frustrated right now because of just how many opportunities he's had where he has pushed, and it has felt like the right time to push, yet somehow vengeurR just pulls it out of his backside and somehow wins all 3 of these fights. The problem is that it's taking a long time. There is this slow exchange before the inevitable fight. k1llsen does take a rail, so he's not healthy. Far from it. But a frag is better than nothing. The question is, how does he recover? He's near Mega, which is absolutely fantastic. vengeurR is going to get near rail start, so we are going to play this ranged game earlier than you might expect. And k1llsen, healthy himself. The injection's going to get popped, but vengeurR was lying in wait with the super shotgun, and all of the armor has been chunked away. Another fight that k1llsen is definitely not as healthy for, but if he uses the pull to his advantage, gets the jump pad, misses the rail, and that might be punishing, because the rail, he has the cooldown. The peak has soaked up the rail, and he had no choice but to run away.
Close engagement once more. Both players retreating. Of course, vengeurR is going to be happy with every second he manages to burn away from the clock, but k1llsen, the pressure is on him. He still has at least 2 more frags to make up for, just to tie up this map. And then once again, this is an important one. The winner qualifies for the grand finals tomorrow, so both players so hungry and eager to take this one. Major items essentially tied, and I like k1llsen's decision. I think he had timing on the Mega, but instead he decided to push out a bit more, looking for vengeurR. He wants to apply the damage, the pressure, keep up that constant onslaught, not allowing vengeurR to get comfortable any place on the map, and he will delay the items just to make that happen. Now there's a perfect delay, 10 seconds in between both, and that could help him tremendously in his final 2 minutes.
He's not going to make the same mistake twice. k1llsen's going to play this a lot safer, and he's going to push in for that super shotgun, and now, just like that, he has a real opportunity to make this one count. The item rotation is perfect for him. He's running the cycle. The light is part of that cycle, and he's so healthy. Now vengeurR, it's likely vengeurR might make a complete gear shift here and play hyper defense. He's already defensive, but it's going to get even more extreme now, especially now he's extreme back foot. If there's one player in the world that can play from this position, it's vengeurR, but against k1llsen, a hungry k1llsen who hits these kind of rails, this might be too much of an impossible task. The shotgun goes in the favor of k1llsen. That was half a second away from going in vengeurR's favor. And now we're equalized, Flea. Did we expect it to go any other way?
Oh man, for a moment there I was almost expecting vengeurR to still win the fight with the shoddy right there. That would have been one hell of an upset, but k1llsen successfully tying things right back up. And I imagine both players now will move to a bit more of a passive state. Neither really wants to overextend. k1llsen, the pressure is off, he tied things right back up, doesn't have to continue with that constant offensive of his, and he can just play things a little more calculated right now. And vengeurR, on the other hand, knowingly, if he drops one more frag, he probably won't be able to catch the fast and slippery anarchy again, so he wants to keep this as close as possible. Actually, good peaker damage right there, vengeurR coming out on top.
Phenomenal damage. And k1llsen's having to play a risky game down here in the catacombs. Has the light. He's just waiting for the light. I don't think he had complete timing on it. He was just waiting for it, and when it comes, it comes. But as we go near what is absolutely going to be a sudden death at this stage, if vengeurR can't secure a frag now, the longer the sudden death goes on, the better and better Anarchy will become, thanks to that injection constantly making his health better. And that is going to be something vengeurR might have to worry about. I know it's going to take a while, but we've seen that point get reached before where Anarchy becomes more effective.
We've seen it on this map too. An overtime, 10 minutes of overtime, and by that point the Anarchy has 120 plus points of health, base health, that he doesn't even need a Mega or an injection to reach.
Still 10 seconds for Mega.
Oh, good rails. vengeurR cannot peek again. He has to disappear. k1llsen mighty early. he's gonna leave up the small armor. He wants to do more damage, knowing that he can take at least one rail and then safely retreat to Mega and that small armor. So that was a very calculated move from k1llsen, knowing that he had the resources behind him and that he could push out a bit more aggressively. Now venger setting up a nice little trap at Rockets. I don't think k1llsen knows exactly where he is. Seems to have a bit of a hunch.
No, I also don't see k1llsen falling for it. He's been really careful all map long. Every opportunity vengeur's tried to have to lay a trap, k1llsen has kind of checked it with a rocket. Now this is scary! The injection's going to save him. He's now going to be 2 more rails to take him out. That was such a clutch injection. If that rail come through, we would have been done and dusted. And his management. He will be using the injection a lot more than vengeurR is able to use Pika. So a lot of these hourglasses will kind of belong to k1llsen in that respect.
Absolutely, you cannot really use
the tribal
unless you know exactly where your opponent is, because you're leaving yourself so vulnerable. So that drastically minimizes the opportunities that vengeurR has to actually use his active ability. Now k1llsen doing most of the damage in these past 20 seconds. vengeurR not comfortable at all. Looks like we are finally going to see a change in the items. So far it really has been k1llsen who's been all about the Mega, whereas vengeurR has been securing the heavy for most of the past few minutes. But now bit of a change up, and that is going to favor k1llsen. Because of the injection, he can actually push his health above that base threshold even without the Mega. So heavy is most definitely the most important
here we go.
item. Yeah, this could be huge. vengeurR peeking, 0 damage being exchanged from that slow play.
But a bit of a win for k1llsen because there's been no resources used, but he's about to get his injection again. Now, does he go towards heavy? Does he wait for vengeurR to make the first move? He pushes out. That missed rail means a free pickup, and there's no way vengeurR challenges. He's going to try and probably take this Mega, I imagine. 1 item for an item. Emphasis on hitting the rails. Very important at this stage. A nail jump just to guarantee that we can make that jump. k1llsen playing no games right now. And as we go further and further into sudden death, so much is riding on this. Remember, folks, this map is to make it to finals day. There is so much pressure on both of these players. But how seasoned they are, I doubt they're going to be affected too much. But these missed rails definitely don't help matters.
Both of these players are acutely aware that probably the next real brawl is going to decide it all. So they want this to happen on their own terms. They don't want to get caught out in any bad position, and that is why the pacing has slowed down so much.
He gets the call out on the jump pad. vengeurR, he pushes in. The rocket just doesn't hit damage, but the rail is fantastic. And with 29 health left, he gets the call out, and that missed rail's likely to be the map, and it will. vengeurR, the clutch, coming through again.
That was a tremendous read from k1llsen right there, or from vengeurR, I mean, just catching him, dropping down all the way to that small armor, and then pushing out, expecting k1llsen to indeed try and go sneak back around towards the shotgun area. vengeurR catching k1llsen coming out on top over the stage 3 grand finalist, the winner of the previous large tournament, is now dropping down to the lower bracket already, and vengeurR will be our first player anywhere to qualify for finals day. Congratulations.
You know he's going to be chuffed to bits with that one. I think everyone needs a little bit of time to recover from that map. We're going to go for a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have some breakdowns and some more matches. Thanks for joining us. That was one hell of a matchup, but we'll be right back.